Welcome back to the deep dive. After everything with the Clampett crisis and all the angles we've looked at, it really feels like we're still putting together a massive puzzle. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. It was so complex.
Yeah.
We're still seeing things pop up now that change how we look at the long-term fallout.
You've been right there with us sorting through it. Today, we're focusing in, really diving deep to some specific documents from April 11th, 2025. They add some pretty crucial new pieces.
That's the plan. Just the news from that one day, plus a very interesting leaked internal report.
Exactly. We've got news articles, one from the Ottawa Diplomat. They usually give a decent overview,
They're the broader picture.
And then a dispatch right from the Tennessee front, really from the thick of it.
Yeah.
And of course, that leaked Sense of Right Alliance report, that's bound to be revealing.
Oh, definitely. So our mission today, basically, is to see how this April 11th info fits, connected to everything we've already discussed since the crisis.
See what it tells us now. Okay, let's get right into it. The Ottawa Diplomat piece. Alarming news. New bug tussle seized.
New bug tussle. Formerly Washington, D.C. during the Ozark Ascension match.
Yeah, seized by Arkansas Orcish forces. Just saying, new bug tussle brings back some seriously weird memories from that time, doesn't it?
It really does. New bug tussle, it's got this unsettling spot in the crisis history. Remember Dr. Finch's accounts? It was Jed Clampett's capital for the Church of the Ozark Ascension.
Oh, yeah.
The whole city transformed. Granny Clampett declaring Jed president of some twisted confederacy.
Yeah.
It was chaotic
Well,
and very strange.
strange is putting it mildly. Finch described it like the whole city was just swallowed by the Ascension's ideology. A theocracy, basically.
Right. So hearing now that Orcish forces control it, these are the Orcs transformed during the crisis, right? And now they're organized enough to take territory.
That seems to be the case. These Arkansas Orcs, they were sort of contained after Ball was defeated, but now... Yeah, taking a city like that, a city that was the center of something so bizarre.
It just drives home that the instability from the Clampett crisis, well, it hasn't just disappeared.
Not at all. We might have thought the big interdimensional stuff was handled, but the after effects, the power vacuums, the transformed populations, they're still very much playing out.
Definitely. Taking new bug tussle makes you wonder about the Orcs organization, their strategy.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that the world is still, very fluid, lots of instability left.
Okay, sticking with the Ottawa Diplomat, they also ran something potentially, darker. Speculation about a new Lich King.
Ah, yes. Linking it to the increased Orcish aggression, especially down in Tennessee.
Right. What's interesting is how the article handles it. It mentions Cargill Deathcleaver, the current Orc leader.
Acknowledges him, sure.
But it suggests the level of coordination, the sheer ferocity, maybe points to something more, something stronger, pulling the strings.
That emphasis on coordination is really the key, isn't it? Orcs, as we understood them, were more impulsive.
Chaotic.
Driven by immediate stuff. This kind of organized, sustained offensive. It feels different. It feels directed. Exactly. Which inevitably brings us back to the original Lich King, Colonel Jack O'Neill, after his transformation, and the Helm of Domination.
We spent a lot of time on that, based on Finch's accounts and the SG-1 reports that trickled out. The Antarctic necropolis.
Finch definitely left us feeling the official story wasn't quite complete. The accepted version is O'Neill and Teal'c were lost when it was destroyed, right?
That's the line.
But, as the diplomat points out, there was never actual proof O'Neill died, or that the helm was recovered or destroyed. It was mostly assumed.
Right. Finch felt something was off. Missing or added, he said. That uncertainty leaves the door wide open for these, unsettling possibilities.
He talked about the chaos at the end, didn't he? Teal'c's Heraldic smashing the helm, the Lich King vanishing, the place collapsing. But he felt there was more to it, something missing from the official record.
Yeah.
And the Helm of Domination, we know it gave immense power over the Orcs. So the diplomat's idea that it might have resurfaced or O'Neill's influence is lingering somehow, and that's what's driving this new aggression. It's chilling.
It really connects some dots in a pretty scary way. The article even hints that historically, Orcs almost need a unifier like that, beyond just a warlord like Deathcleaver. This fanatical obedience feels familiar, like the Lich King's control.
Precisely. Orc society is inherently chaotic. Finch mentioned that too. So this current wave of focused aggression, it just feels suspicious. Is it just Deathcleaver? Or is some darker force, maybe one we know, guiding them again? Okay,
let's shift from the theories, disturbing as they are, to the ground reality. We have that dispatch from the Tennessee front, and it sounds grim.
It really does. The reporter there talks about the tension. You can almost feel it. The scars from past fighting are visible, and there's this growing sense the Orcs want more than just the old Confederate states and new buck tussle.
The big takeaway seems to be the change in tactics. It's not just raids anymore.
No, it sounds like a proper offensive. Coordinated, pushing north, and Michigan seems to be the target.
They specifically mentioned Fort Pontchartrain in Michigan. That's huge.
It's the western state's biggest city. The dispatch stresses how strategically vital it is. An Orc attack there. Catastrophic. Millions of people at risk.
It paints this picture of a major city under direct threat. The reporter praises the western states' soldiers, their bravery.
But also makes it clear they're outnumbered, facing relentless Orcs under Deathcleaver.
And woven through it all are those whispers again, right? The rumors of a new Lich King driving the whole thing. It's not just news speculation. It's affecting morale on the front lines.
Exactly. It creates this sense of a pressure cooker down there in Tennessee. A desperate fight against an enemy that seems relentless and worryingly organized now.
Yeah, a tough situation.
The dispatch ends basically pleading for more resources, more awareness of how serious it is. If the Orc advance isn't stopped, the consequences could be devastating.
All right, let's pivot now. That leaked report from the Sense of Right Alliance. This is a peek behind the curtain, isn't it? How the big powers are planning.
Fascinating stuff. And the fact it leaked tells you something. There's concern inside the alliance.
This one focuses on the Church of the Ozark Ascension possibly making a comeback.
And they are taking that possibility very seriously. The report lays out a whole range of actions they're considering. It's quite comprehensive.
Multifaceted is the word. Everything from diplomacy, trying to talk to moderate church factions.
If they exist.
Right. All the way to security measures, including, and this is significant, potential military intervention as a last resort.
That shows how worried they are. But it's not just military. They're looking at economic sanctions, humanitarian aid in affected areas, boosting intelligence gathering on the church.
Trying to figure out what they're really up to now.
And even strategic information campaigns. Basically trying to control the narrative, counter the church's ideology.
That part about managing the narrative is interesting, isn't it? Shows they learned how powerful belief was during the church's first rise in the Clampett crisis.
Exactly. The report stresses constant monitoring, regular intel briefings between members, close coordination. They see this not as a passing worry, but an ongoing threat needing vigilance and a united front.
And the leak itself, we can't ignore that. Raises questions about alliance security, obviously, but also maybe tensions with the church or within the alliance.
Definitely. Who leaked it? Internal dissent. Or, as some other reports hint, maybe elements linked to the church trying to mess with the alliance's plans. Adds a whole new layer of intrigue.
Speaking of the alliance, there was also news about Canada officially joining up. Prime Minister Pulgasari made a big announcement.
Yeah, that's a big step in making the alliance more formal, more powerful. Canada's putting in significant resources, money, tech, people. Shows they're a key player in this whole post-crisis security effort.
But maybe the real headline grabber from Pulgasari's announcement was Canada backing Dr. Jackson's idea to set up a new Stargate team. Right here, in this universe.
That is potentially huge. Jackson was crucial during the crisis. His knowledge is unmatched. A new Stargate team for exploration, maybe interdimensional diplomacy. It opens up, well, almost anything. Possibilities and risks.
And the talk about the Defen bunker possibly being the HQ, that's just classic, isn't it? Cold War bunker turned Stargate command.
Well, the location's not confirmed. The article says that.
Right, unconfirmed.
But the Defen bunker would have the security, the infrastructure needed for something that sensitive. Either way, Canada supporting Jackson signals they're ready to engage with the multiverse much more deliberately.
Now, not everyone's happy with the alliance. Interim President Talbot in the Western states, he wasn't shy about criticizing them for excluding the Western states.
You can see his point. He argues the Western states are the successor to the U.S., a former superpower, so they should be in this major global alliance.
But the alliance reasoning that the Western states are too new, not yet a major global power like the founders, that clearly didn't go down well with Talbot.
It really shows how messy the geopolitics still are after the crisis. Old power structures are gone, new ones are forming. The Western states, big as they are still finding their place.
There's even speculation the article mentions that China might have pushed to keep the Western states out to limit the old U.S. influence.
If true, that's some serious maneuvering. It shows that even in an alliance born from crisis, national interests and rivalries are still bubbling under the surface. Excluding a power like the Western states could affect the alliance long term.
Okay, back to the Church of the Ozark Ascension for a sec. reports are popping up about a possible resurgence in Havana, Cuba.
It sounds odd at first, but maybe not. Cuba stayed neutral during the Clampett crisis, remember?
Ah, right.
So it could have been a safe haven for church members trying to lie low, escape the chaos.
And weren't there some older links? Cuban politicians who converted briefly back when the church was big?
Exactly. Those history bits, plus Cuba being relatively stable then. It makes Havana a plausible spot for remaining followers to regroup, maybe try to rebuild the movement.
It definitely feeds into that leaked alliance report, doesn't it? Their concerns might be based on intel about activity just like this in places like Havana.
It creates this sort of feedback loop. The alliance is worried, then these reports surface, seeming to confirm those worries. And the idea that Cuban radicals might have leaked the alliance report just adds another twist.
Okay, shifting to some more personal political drama. Farshad Gillis, running for president in the Western states. He strongly denied Dr. Finch's suggestion about his CERN donation.
Right. Finch questioned the timing, hinted it was maybe a political stunt.
Gillis is pushing back hard, saying he's genuinely committed to CERN, global security, science, especially after the Clampett crisis.
It shows how much scrutiny these candidates are under. Gillis wants to look like a statesman, a supporter of science.
But Finch planting that seed of doubt, was it genuine generosity or just good PR before an election? That clearly got under Gillis's skin.
It's all about perception, isn't it? Trust. Is Gillis for real, or is it just politics? His strong reaction suggests he feels the heat from that skepticism.
And sticking with that election, early polls show Bobby Joe Bradley slightly ahead of Gillis. That's pretty interesting, considering Gillis's background.
Bradley's message, that unwavering optimism and her role during the crisis negotiations, it seems to be hitting home for people. Hope and compassion sounds pretty good after what everyone went through.
Yeah, it contrasts with Gillis. People worry about his business conflicts of interest, maybe, and his focus on economic growth, while important, might not resonate as much emotionally right now.
Exactly. Practical stuff matters, but Bradley seems to be tapping into that deeper need for healing, for a positive direction after the trauma. But like the article says, it's early days. Polls can change fast.
Now, for something truly out there, some right-wing groups are apparently pushing conspiracy theories about Bobby Joe Bradley, claiming she's actually Baal in disguise.
Well, you can't make this stuff up. But it shows how the crisis, the weirdness of it all, has just warped reality for some people. Interdimensional threats were real, so now anything seems possible to them.
There's so-called evidence. She appeared suddenly. Her message is subversive. She seems otherworldly. It's incredibly thin, just speculation.
It feels a bit like those Ronaldo Cargoul death cleaver rumors we talked about before. When the impossible happens, maybe some people just latch on to wild explanations for everything else.
Bradley, of course, denies it flat out. Points out Dr. Jackson came from another dimension too, as part of SG-1.
Which is perfectly logical. But logic doesn't always cut through deep-seated conspiracy beliefs, unfortunately.
It really highlights how the trauma might have made some people more susceptible to this kind of thinking, less trusting of normal explanations. The lines got blurred.
Very blurred.
Okay, back to more grounded issues. The Western states still haven't picked an official capital. Seattle's the acting capital, but the debate's ongoing.
Yeah, that's a big decision for their future. Seattle's done the job short-term, but there are a strong argument for other places, too.
San Jose, the tech hub, that's about innovation, the future economy.
Right. Or Fort Pontchartrain, biggest city, more central location. Both make sense in different ways. It's complicated.
President Talbot staying neutral probably shows how tricky it is. Balancing regional interests, it's a foundational decision for them.
Definitely. It'll shape their politics and economy for a long time.
Meanwhile, in tech news, Blacksoft Damian Black's company just launched a new AI search engine.
Black's background is a bit mysterious. The company came up fast. This could be a big deal.
They're promising better accuracy, speed, personalization, potentially challenging the big players.
It'll be interesting to see if it lives up to the hype. AI in search. That's got huge implications for how we get information.
It really does. Just shows that even after a global crisis like Clampett, tech keeps marching on.
Innovation doesn't stop.
Okay, now, for perhaps the most surreal piece of news today, Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors, the South Korean football club, they've apparently bid to hire Cristiano Ronaldo as their manager.
The Cristiano Ronaldo, the one who's currently a pirate captain based in Hong Kong.
That's the one. I mean, wow.
That is.
Yeah.
Genuinely bizarre. His career switch to piracy was already pretty wild. But a football management offer from Jeonbuk.
And Jeonbuk's had its own drama, remember? They lost Pep Guardiola because he joined the Church of the Ozark Ascension. Their season got suspended during the crisis.
Right. They've had a rough time. So
Right.
their logic for hiring Pirate Ronaldo,
Yeah.
resilience, leadership, even as a pirate, global name recognition. It's creative, I'll give him that.
It's certainly unconventional. Whether he'll swap the Jolly Roger for a tracksuit, who knows? But it's definitely got people talking. A bit of light relief, maybe.
A very strange reminder that humans remain unpredictable, even when the world's been turned upside down.
Shifting gears again to books. Lots of buzz around Alice Figueroa's new erotic novel. She's got a big reputation for exploring queer themes, love, identity.
She's a really important voice, very insightful, often provocative, and they've kept this new one under wraps, just sent out review copies. That always builds anticipation.
The rumor suggests themes like unconventional relationships, changing families post-crisis, hidden desires, maybe a more experimental style mixing memory and fantasy.
Sounds like her pushing boundaries again. The early reviews are apparently mixed, but generating tons of discussion, which is typical for her. And her social media hints have people guessing.
Sounds like it'll be another book that makes people think, challenges perspectives on relationships now.
Absolutely. Her work always sparks important conversations. This one sounds like it will too.
And finally, some sad news. The passing of Kevin Wu, the 5th Duke of Guadalajara. Known for his autobiography, but maybe more for his bravery defending Toledo in Spain during the Clampett crisis.
Ah, yes. A real loss. His actions during the crisis were truly courageous. Queen Leonor's statement reflects that gratitude, that respect he earned.
It's important to remember these individual stories, isn't it? Amidst all the big picture stuff. People like Kevin Wu, who stepped up, protected their communities.
Absolutely. His courage during those dark times won't be forgotten. A memorial service is planned, I believe.
Yes. So looking back at just this one day, April 11th, 2025, we see so many threads. The Orcs, the Lich King fears, the Alliance worry about the Church, Canada's moves, the Western states' struggles, even football pirates and new books. It all shows how the Clampett crisis is still shaping everything.
It really does. These aren't isolated events. They connect back to everything we've discussed before, showing how those initial shocks are still rippling outwards, defining the world we're in now.
Which leaves us with a final thought, maybe a bit unsettling for everyone listening. As we watch all these pieces move, orc attacks, politics, old beliefs resurfacing, what do you think are the real forces driving things underneath it all? Are we actually getting any closer to understanding the true, lasting impact of the Clampett crisis?
It's a crucial question.
Keep thinking about it, keep watching how things develop, share your thoughts with us. This story is far from over.